I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 things you can do to prepare now for when disaster strikes. No one expects a fire, flood, or major storm, and that's why we have homeowners and renters insurance. Do your research. Talk to an actual insurance agent about the risks in your area and get insured.
24.
I know this is difficult for some, and more likely to be relevant if you're in a situation where you have warning that there might be an issue, but keep $50 in cash, mostly in small bills, on hand. Even if power's off for just a few days, or if the grocery store has a generator, you may not be able to buy ice and water with a credit card. Cash, it's still useful.
23.
The general rule is that you should have enough food stored up for 3 days for each person in your house. Don't forget about snacks, shelf-stable milk, fuel for your grill or camp stove to cook with, and a French press or other non-electric coffee maker. Be aware of what you have on hand and rotate stock as necessary.
22.
If you and your family are on different sides of town when something bad happens, do you know where to meet up? Do you have an evacuation plan? Think about the most likely scenarios for your area and make a plan and a backup plan, and go over it with your family at least once a month.
21.
Flashlights and extra batteries, solar-powered lights, waterproof matches, and candles will all be very valuable when you can't flick a switch.
20.
Have a first aid kit prepared and make it specific to members of your family. You don't necessarily need to be able to do minor surgery, but you'll want more than band-aids and Neosporin. Consider things like a brace or sports wrap in case someone gets a sprain or a break, until you can safely get to a medical facility, and prescription meds. If you take something regularly, talk to your doctor about having some extra on hand. You don't want to be snowed in for a week without vital meds.
19.
CPR, basic first aid, shutting off utilities to your house if necessary, how to cook without power, advanced shadow puppeteering, etc. can and will come in very handy should the unexpected happen. Read some books, watch some things on YouTube, and talk to people who have been in weird and unexpected situations before. As an added bonus, you'll be more confident instead of scared and panicky.
18.
It's well worth taking a few minutes to drive and see where and how far the nearest shelter is. Evacuation routes are picked for a specific reason, and even though these might get busy, there's a reason they're the designated evacuation routes. That shortcut you know and want to use might be unsafe. Doing something else, particularly in an emergency when you're being evacuated, is not the smartest idea.
17.
Just like food, you should have at least enough diapers, wipes, and formula for 72 hours, if not longer. Even if you regularly use cloth diapers, in an emergency or disaster, you may not be able to rinse, soak, or wash, so put a package of disposables away.
16.
It's not uncommon to have power lines taken out by storms but still have cell signal. So imagine sitting around your house, sans electricity for 2 days with cell phone signal, but no way to charge your phone. If you think you could just run down to Starbucks or Walmart and plug it in, remember that hundreds, if not thousands of other people will have the same idea. You can easily find a solar charger on Amazon or similar online stores.
15.
You should know the emergency plan for places such as work and your children's schools or daycare. Know protocol for emergency situations and how information will be relayed to workers/parents.
14.
If you're going to be stuck at home after a huge storm without power, it's worth it to know your neighbors. You might not be able to use that gallon of milk in your fridge, but your neighbors with 3 little ones might, and vice versa. For more practical reasons, you can all pitch in to help clear the street of debris and look out for each other. A united front of a whole neighborhood against looters or nefarious persons is safer than an individual.
13.
Have a tarp, rope, and duct tape handy, as these things can be used to cover broken windows, assist with cleanup, tie things down, cover a hole in a roof, collect rainwater if needed, and in a pinch, make a shelter.
12.
If you live someplace that gets cold, you'll want to strongly consider a heat source for your home if you're snowed or iced in without power. Keep in mind that fire and carbon monoxide poisoning are serious risks to consider when planning an emergency indoor heat source. Make sure if you have a fireplace or wood stove that it's properly maintained to minimize risk.
11.
Keep your important documents, which include things like birth certificates, IDs, insurance documents, bank info, and specific medical info like current medications or allergies, in a waterproof and easily portable container. Honestly, one of the best things for this is a gallon-sized Ziploc freezer bag. Having to evacuate and then having none of your financial information when you get home is an easily preventable headache, so take a bit of time and prepare now.
10.
There are a million ways multi-tools can be used, and in the most practical use I can think of, they often include bottle openers and scissors on the same item.
9.
If you own a firearm, have an extra box of ammo. If you're against having a gun in the home, have a plan of some kind for if looters come a-knocking and phones are down or police are unable to respond. This isn't to scare anyone, but it happens. Have a plan to protect yourself and your loved ones, and if your personal moral code will not allow that, strongly consider evacuating.
8.
Disaster cleanup is gross. Mold, mildew, and other ickiness. And 9 parts of water to 1 part bleach can be used as a disinfectant. In an emergency, 16 drops of regular liquid bleach per gallon of water can make questionable water safe to drink, but only use this as a last resort, and never use scented, color-safe, or bleaches with added cleaners. Just ye old liquid bleach.
7.
The basic premise behind a bug-out bag is that it contains what you would need to survive for 72 hours if you evacuate. Some people take this to the extreme, but it's for exactly that. Survival. They're also known as go bags, 72-hour kits, or personal preparedness kits. If the thought of putting your own together is daunting, the Red Cross and Amazon both sell them. Though be aware, most pre-made kits don't come with instant coffee or anything for children.
6.
If you have to evacuate, you should never leave your pets behind. Make sure you pack backup food for them. Canned food works very well for this, and consider their water needs as well. Have your pets microchipped if possible. Have a sturdy, safe carrier they can be placed in if they're small, keep copies of their vaccinations on hand, and consider their needs when packing a bug-out or evacuation bag.
5.
While there's some argument on this, the general consensus is that you shouldn't, for various reasons, let your car get below 1/4 of a tank. If you live someplace that has a high potential for natural disasters, don't let your tank get below half. If you have to evacuate, you don't want to spend 2 hours waiting for gas.
4.
If you don't have power, internet, or a phone for several days, you can't contact everyone you've ever known to let them know you're okay, but you can probably borrow someone's phone to call your mom, aunt, or best friend out of state and have them update everyone else that you're unharmed. If everyone's called Aunt Kate in Colorado to let her know they're fine, she can relay information. And I cannot stress enough how important that is. Pick an emergency contact, memorize their phone number.
3.
Kids need different things than adults, and while adults can process and understand, we suck it up and sit in the local hurricane shelter for 24 hours being bored and scared, children often can't. If you're preparing to evacuate or packing a bug-out bag, consider putting in a spare but familiar blanket, their favorite non-perishable snack, a book or coloring book and crayons, and a toy to keep them distracted from the mayhem. For older children, perhaps pack favorite non-perishable snacks and a new book or card game to keep them occupied.
2.
There are a few ways to get emergency alerts. TV, text alerts, and radio are the easiest. Make sure you're aware of how local officials will be communicating updates, know how to and if there's an AM/FM app on your cell phone, and if possible, invest in a hand crank radio. So even if you're without power, you're not without information.
1.
Water is essential and one of the first things you'll miss if you can't get it readily. Plan for 1 gallon per day per person in your house for drinking, cooking, and washing. The general rule is a 3-day supply if you need to bug out and a 1 to 2 week supply at home. Have you ever had to go through a disaster? Share your stories with us in the comments below. Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button in the top right corner so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with your friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these 2 videos here or just head to our website at list25.com.